A very good morning. Today we shall discuss the remaining part of Oedipus Rex. In the previous class we discussed up to the quarrel between Oedipus and Tiresias, and I think you are well aware of the quarrel in between the two. And in the quarrel, Tiresias accused Oedipus that he is the killer of Laius. And he told Oedipus, the killer whom you are searching is you yourself. And you are living in sinful union. That is, you are in sinful union with a woman who is your mother and a wife. The Oedipus became very angry, upset and confused. That time, Jocasta, his wife, approaches him and tries to calm and soothe him. She tells that the prophets and oracles are unreliable. Their prophecies will never come true. He also told that there is nothing to be worried about the prophecy of Tiresias, and you please ignore it and be happy. Then, in order to prove her argument, she quotes an example, a prophecy to Laius, her former husband. The prophecy was that Laius' son will kill his father and marry his mother. But Laius was killed by a band of robbers, not by the son, as predicted by the oracle. So, she tells that the prophecies are not at all reliable, and her husband Laius was killed by a band of robbers at a place where three roads met, or the crossroad. When Oedipus heard this, he felt uneasy. When Oedipus heard the mention of crossroad, he became uneasy because he immediately recalled a murder that he has done years back, and he asked Jocasta to narrate the story of the murder of Laius. Then Jocasta narrates that Oedipus was on a pilgrimage to Delphi, and they were traveling in a chariot. There were 6 members including Laius, and when they reached a narrow road, there was a clash with their chariot and another chariot, and the chariot was full of robbers. They attacked Oedipus and the attendants of Oedipus, and in the clash, all the members of the chariot but one was killed. The surviving person, who was a shepherd, approached Jocasta and informed the murder of Laius. He told that Laius was killed by a band of robbers. When Jocasta asked whether the murderer was a single person, he told that no, it was a band of robbers. Then the man asked permission to Jocasta to leave Thebes. He told that the murder of the king shocked him so much, and he cannot live in Thebes without the king. So she requested for permission to leave the place. Jocasta gave permission and asked it to go a distant place and tend the gods. And accordingly, the survivor, that is the eyewitness, left Thebes. When Oedipus heard this narration, he inquired Jocasta how Laius looked like. She revealed that Laius was not a very old man, he was a middle-aged man. His hair was growing grey, and he was a well-built bodied man, and he had a close resemblance with Oedipus. By hearing all this, Oedipus's uneasiness increased. He asked Jocasta to recall the shepherd, that is the eyewitness. After this incident, Laius became totally disturbed. Jocasta approaches him and asks what is bothering him. That time, Oedipus tells the story of his past days. He reveals that he was the son of Polybus and Merope, their royal parents in Corinth. There he was growing there, enjoying the love and affection of the parents. And years passed and he became a young man. One day, a drunken man told Oedipus that he was not the biological son of his parents. That this remark irritated and disturbed Oedipus. He approached his parents and asked whether he was the biological son of them. They assured him that nothing to worry, you are our biological son. But not being convinced by the reply, Oedipus decided to seek the opinion of the oracle of Delphi. Thus, he started a journey from Corinth. That means he decided to flee from Corinth in order to avoid the catastrophe of killing his father and marrying his mother, that is Polybus and Merope. And he reached the oracle of Delphi and requested him to tell whether he was the biological son of Polybus and Merope. To this question, oracle did not give a reply, but instead the oracle told that he will kill his father and marry his mother. And by hearing this, he was totally afraid, and he decided to leave Corinth. And he started his journey, and while he was going, his chariot reached in a narrow road. Another chariot was coming in the opposite direction. There was no side. So there arose a quarrel in between Oedipus and the members of the chariot. The members of the chariot rebuked and began to attack him. Oedipus retaliated, and in the fight, Oedipus killed 5 members in the chariot, including Laius. 1 man escaped. That was the survivor or the eyewitness. He escaped and reached to Thebes and informed Jocasta about the murder of Laius and other 4 members in the chariot. And he then, as I told you earlier, left Thebes and went to tend the gods in a distant place. Then Oedipus, after killing Laius, not knowing he has killed his father, continued his journey. And he reached in Thebes. When he reached in Thebes, Thebes was in a serious crisis. That Thebians were preoccupied with the menace of a sphinx. A sphinx in Thebes used to ask a riddle to the people. The riddle was, what was the creature that walked on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? The travelers and the citizens who could not give a reply, was devoured by the sphinx. At last, Oedipus reached in Thebes and faced the sphinx. There he gave a correct answer to the riddle. The answer was the man. That at infancy, infant will be crawling on the ground. That is walking on 4 legs. When the man becomes young, he walks on 4 legs. He walks on 2 legs. And when the man becomes old, he will be walking on 3 legs. That is, he will be walking with the help of a stick. The answer was correct, and the people were rejoiced. They, in their rejoice, made Oedipus the king of Thebes, and Jocasta, the wife of Laius, became the wife of Oedipus. This is the past story of Oedipus and the present. Now, while they were talking, a messenger from Corinth came with a news. The news was Oedipus's father, Polybus was died of natural causes. Corinth then wished Oedipus to be their king. Oedipus was very happy that the prophecy did not come true. That is, he has not murdered his father. Father was died of a natural disease. So he was very happy. But still, there was a menace. In the prophecy, there were 2 points. One was the son will kill Laius, and Mary his mother. The other half of the prophecy, that Mary his mother is still remaining there. And if Oedipus becomes the king, he will have to marry Merope. Or even if he returns to Corinth, he will have to marry Merope. So he was still unhappy. That time the messenger tells, nothing to be worried. Polybus and Merope are not your real parents, or Oedipus is not the biological son of Polybus and Merope. I once was a shepherd, but it was I who gave baby Oedipus to Polybus and Merope, and who were childless. The messenger, who was once a shepherd, gave the baby Oedipus to Polybus and Merope, as they had no children. The messenger got this baby Oedipus from another shepherd who was a servant in the house of Laius. Laius and Jocasta entrusted the baby with the shepherd in order to expose on a mountain and to be died. The reason for exposing the baby was due to a prophecy. The prophecy was that son will kill father and marry his mother. Now the truth is revealed. That means Jocasta understood that Oedipus is her son. Oedipus, her husband, is her son, and her son is the killer of his father and Jocasta's husband. Everything is now revealed. Then Oedipus continued questioning the messenger. He asked, where is the messenger? Where is the shepherd? Messenger told, now the shepherd is tending goats in a distant place. And immediately Oedipus asked to bring back the Oedipus. Now Jocasta understood everything, and she requested Oedipus not to continue the search. And she again and again requested Oedipus, but Oedipus was adamant, and he ignored the request of Jocasta. Now the shepherd is brought. Oedipus questions him. The shepherd was frightened and he tried to escape, not revealing the truth. But that time Oedipus threatened him of death. The frightened shepherd revealed that Oedipus was the son of Laius and Jocasta. But it was Jocasta and Laius who entrusted the baby Oedipus to him to be exposed on the mountain. Why? Why that child is to be exposed? He says that it was because of a prophecy. Now everything is again crystal clear, and by hearing this, Jocasta rushed to the bedroom, and she locked the bedroom and cried by tearing her hair with her fingers and stood before Laius's portrait and cried for a long time. Then, unable to face the shame, she committed suicide. Oedipus then rushed to the bedroom. He knows very well where Jocasta would be. The door was locked, but Oedipus has opened it by stamping on the door. And when he entered the room, he saw the most heartbreaking sight. Jocasta was died. By that she committed suicide. Oedipus took the body and left on the ground. And then another tragedy happens. The Oedipus, after laying the body on the bed, took the golden brooches from her robe and blinded his eyes as a self-punishment for marrying his mother and killing his father. Now, our tragic hero, the Oedipus, has become blind. Oedipus was a most intelligent, brave person who solved the riddle of Sphinx and saved the Thebans from the menace. This is the pathetic end of Jocasta and Oedipus. Then he came out. Jocasta and Oedipus had 4 children. 2 were daughters. He asked Creon, the brother-in-law of Oedipus. Creon is the brother of Jocasta. He has become the ruler now, and he asked Creon to banish him from Thebes. Creon told that the action will be taken only after getting the message from Apollo. And Oedipus again requested to banish him, but Creon said that action will be taken only after getting the message. Then Oedipus asked Creon to care his daughters. And here the story ends. And this is the tragic story of Oedipus, who was the savior of Thebes. And now you see the story, the main part of the story we discussed in the first class, and this is the second class I am engaging. And through this class, that is with today's class, the story is over. Now we can have a discussion about the structure and dramatic devices. Oedipus Rex stands as the finest example of classical tragedy. Oedipus, in his poetics, praised Oedipus Rex as the perfect tragedy. All the tragic elements of a drama are well included in Oedipus Rex. There are four theoretical elements that hamartia, peripetia, anagnorisis and catharsis. All these we can very well see in the play. And you just see, these elements are not just literary devices in this play. They are the gears to drive the play's emotional and the narrative engine. And we can look into the four elements of a perfect tragedy. One is hamartia. I think you are well aware of hamartia. That is a tragic flow. Hamartia, the tragic flow. Hamartia is often translated as a tragic flow, but it more means an error in judgment. Hamartia really means an error in judgment. In Oedipus Rex, his hamartia is a complex mix of hubris. Hubris, that is excessive pride, and his well-intentional but relentless quest for truth. While his intelligence saved thieves, saved thieves from Sphinx, that same confidence leads him to believe he can outsmart gods and prophets. That is the hamartia. From the description I got that hubris, that is excessive pride, and a relentless pursuit of truth are the tragic flow of Oedipus. Then the role in this play, Oedipus is a great man who follows because of a specific internal trait, his refusal to stop seeking the truth, even when warned by Theseus and Jocasta. And we know Theseus and Jocasta given a warning to Oedipus. Theseus declared that Oedipus was the killer whom he is searching. If Oedipus had stopped his search there, he would have escaped. Such a tragedy would not have happened. So, his tragedy is due to his refusal to stop seeking truth, even when warned by Tiresias and Jocasta. And you also know Jocasta, the wife of Oedipus, requested him to stop further searching. But he ignored her request and continued the search. And that was the result of his downfall. Then peripetia, that is reversal. Peripetia is a sudden reversal of fortune or change in circumstances. Peripetia is defined sudden reversal of fortune or change in circumstances. And you know, Oedipus was happy at the news brought by the messenger. The news was the death of Polybus, and that gave a relief to Oedipus that he will not become the killer of his father. But suddenly, what happened? The messenger cleared that Oedipus is not the biological son of Polybus and Merope, and that means the another half of the prophecy is still remaining, and his disclosure that Oedipus is not the biological son of Polybus and Merope, but the adopted son or the son of Laius and Jocasta. That was the sudden reversal. In the play, this occurs most sharply when the messenger arrives from Corinth. Peripetia happens when the messenger from Corinth reaches. The messenger intends to relieve Oedipus by telling him that Polybus is dead. But he is not the real son of Polybus and Merope. Then the role, where instead of bringing peace, this Oedipus's worst fears. This information confirms Oedipus's fears. The very news meant to save him becomes an instrument of ruin. The very news meant to save becomes the instrument of ruin. This shift turns the play from quest for a killer into realization of self-destruction. Then anagnosis, that is the recognition. Anagnosis is the moment of critical discovery. It is the transition from ignorance to knowledge. Anagnosis is the recognition. Anagnosis is the moment of critical discovery. It is the transition from ignorance to knowledge. For Oedipus, this is a horrible one. It happens when shepherd confirms that infant he gave away was the son of Laius. And this is anagnosis. Lastly, catharsis. Catharsis, that is purgation or cleansing. Catharsis, the emotional release experienced by the audience at the end of a tragedy. Aristotle argued that by witnessing pity for the hero's suffering and fear that such a fate would happen to anyone, the audience is purged for the overwhelming emotions. And this is the theoretical elements in the play. Now, lastly, fate versus free will. That you can see. This is perhaps the most central theme. The central theme of the play is fate versus free will. The play explores the tragic conflict of a man who attempts to exercise free will and escape an ominous prophecy, but in doing so unknowingly rushes headlong to fulfill it. And we know very well the free will of Oedipus unknowingly rushes headlong to fulfill the prophecy. Then inevitable destiny. Oedipus' actions leaving his supposed parents. Oedipus' actions, that is leaving his supposed parents to save the supposed parents, are desperate attempt to avoid destiny. Yet they are the very steps that set in prophecy in motion. The Oedipus way in order to save his supposed parents went to Thebes. But on his way to Thebes, he killed Laius, his real or his biological father. Then, spiritual blindness. Oedipus is physically sighted, but he is spiritually blind. Then the quest for truth, tragic insight also are the elements of the drama. With this, we finish the drama, and I think you might have got an idea about Oedipus Rex. And Oedipus Rex is a masterpiece that has challenged audience for 2000 years. And it is a gripping, it is a gripping tragedy of a great king, Oedipus, who is searching to save his country from a devastating plague. But his search reveals a terrible truth about his own identity. That terrible truth, now I think you got. That terrible truth of the killing of father and marrying his mother. In this play, again I tell, all the theoretical elements, that is hamartia, peripeteia, anagnoses and catharsis, are included in this drama. That is why Aristotle defined this drama as a perfect tragedy. And here, through this play, Oedipus Rex, Sophocles is narrating the power of destiny and the limits of human power. And here is really a war between free will and destiny. Destiny has won. That is, as per the destiny, Oedipus killed his father and married his mother. And he faced a tragic end by blinding himself and causing the death of his mother. Okay, thank you very much. Now I finish, and I will come next week with a new lesson. The name I shall reveal that time. Okay, goodbye.